So, I have been seeing so many women, specifically young women who are in their childbearing years, talking about how frustrated they are about love and relationships and how they want to be able to find the person, their person, right? And one of the major things that I'm really learning is that at around age 25 or so, most young women from age like maybe 16 to 25, 15 to 25, like that 10-year window of pubescence, adolescence, young adulthood into adulthood is very, very taxing when it comes to trying to create a love relationship with their counterparts. Okay, it's early while I'm recording this, but I want to make sure that I say this, and I say this very clearly. Don't waste your years. Don't waste your years trying to find love with somebody's dysregulated and emotionally unintelligent child. Get yourself together. If you need therapy, get it. And learn how to track your cycle. People just think that I'd be talking about cycle tracking because it's like, oh yeah, you could prevent pregnancy, you could plan pregnancy, you could do all this stuff. That's like, yeah. But understanding your moon cycle also helps you to regulate and understand your own patterns and beliefs. And when we're young, the energy to do that is very, very high at its optimum peak. Between ages 15 to 25, it's like way up there because that's the optimum. 25 is the optimum age for childbearing, right? The body starts to transform, the hips start to widen, the body starts to call and crave for fertilization at a deeper capacity at about age 25. And between 25 and 35 is where that window is very wide and open. So anything between 15 and 25 is just the pattern recognition phase. Like your body starts to recognize the patterns. The patterns of the type of men that you choose to entertain, right? And I said that you choose to entertain. Not saying that these are men that you actually have to become intimate or have relationships with, but the type of men that you're also attracting. So there's a lot of work that has to be done with young women between ages 15 to 25 and that 10-year span so that they could be able to cultivate the right energy to attract to their eggs, right? That will be producing between ages 25 and 35. And people might look like, oh my God, 30 is so old to be having kids. No, between 25 and 35 is optimal. Optimal. Like that's the peak of your fertility. And between 35 and 45, the gates are going to be slowly closing. Not that you can't still have children, but if you look at that 10, 20 year, 30-year capacity, if all you've experienced is trauma, drama, abuse, your body is going to automatically start to shut down. And when you get into the menopause phase, which is around 45 to 55, the body is going to be like, oh shit, it finally gets to tell the truth. It finally gets to be regulated under the guise of its own authentic self. And when these things start to happen, it also triggers things. And if you have a partner or whatnot, and it's like, whoa, what do you do with all of this energy that is no longer desiring just for love, right? And I think this is an important conversation, that when you track your cycle, you learn your patterns. You learn your patterns early, between 15 to 25, so you can start saying like, oh, I feel a little bit more needy for companionship or for touch or for connection around this follicular and ovulatory window. And so I need to be doing more active things, like maybe exercise or creating a routine for myself that's healthy, like working out or going to the movies or doing things that stimulate yourself, right? So that when the luteal phase comes, that egg can be dispelled with truth and a certain level of integrity and identity that's not necessarily attached to our male counterparts, because that's just the sexology of it, right? But when we start to really think about the capacity of how many times we as women are going to go through these phases, which is about 450 to 500 times, and sometimes more if you start your cycles earlier, it's very imperative to think about these things and to really start to have these conversations with your daughters and even with yourself. Because if you're 25 and you're already burned out on love and relationships, it's because you really didn't have the guidance and the understanding early on, so that by the time you get to 35, 45, 55, your body is already fully exhausted, because you haven't really been able to find satisfaction, find pleasure, find joy and peace in your male counterparts. And when we ignore what our body is telling us, which is when menstruation or the bleed cycle comes to rest, we can't get the downloads to bleed on the relationship before we go into something that's committed and permanent, right? It's like, oh, I like him, he like me. This in the ovulatory phase, and I just want to see what he feel like. I like him, blah 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 blah. He looks mateable. Your body is saying that, but you got to have discernment in your mind and in your heart to not just lead with your vagina, because the womb is going to be calling for stuff all the time. It's a black hole. It's an endless desire, right? But until we understand how to regulate that thing and to regulate the magnetism that comes with it, we're going to continue to see the perpetuation of depression, of PTSD, of anxiety, even bipolarism, and sometimes schizophrenia, which are all regulated through hormone balance, through connection, through love in the early years, right? That are a part of our chemical makeup. And when we don't understand that this chemical makeup is also a part of our bloodline stories and the way that we're carrying the weight of our bloodline, of our mothers, and if we don't do the deep ancestral inner work that's needed to be able to really conquer those things, we're going to continue to see the perpetuation of the abuse, the trauma, the harm that comes not only just from our external experiences, but from our internal stories and from our subconscious stories that needs to be reprogrammed for our overall well-being and capacity to choose ourselves. Because when you choose yourself, and you choose yourself with love and with respect and with value and with dignity, then you start to walk in that energy, and that energy becomes the magnet and not the ladder. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody today. Love, light, and liberation. Stay pretty out there, and go out there and get you some good vibes, okay? All right. Peace.